I'm excited about the opportunity to talk to you this afternoon about dreams. I'm a psychiatrist in Detroit, and I've been studying dreams for a lot of my career. I published a book about dreams this fall, and even though my father was excited about my book, he also thinks dreams don't matter, just like our culture kind of thinks dreams don't matter. So when I told my father about my book, he said, "That's nice, congratulations, but aren't dreams just nonsense?" And then my dad did what everybody does when they tell me dreams are nonsense. They give me an example. So my dad said, for instance, there's my dad and my son. So he said, for instance, last night I dreamt I was mowing the lawn and your mother was watching from the porch and she was criticizing me because the rows were crooked. Isn't that nonsense? Now we can decide later if my dad's dream was nonsense or not. Now, I've never felt that dreams were nonsense. I've been thinking about dreams most of my life. I started recording dreams when I was a kid. I have a collection of about 5,000 dreams, which is one of the largest collections in the country. I think one of the reasons I studied psychiatry was hoping to find some answers to what dreams meant and what they were all about. Unfortunately, psychiatry, like our culture, has decided that dreams don't matter. That's Freud and Jung, but sometime in the 80s or 90s when psychiatric medicines became popular, psychiatry kind of forgot about these guys and forgot about dreams also. So why are dreams ignored? One reason is a philosophical belief called scientism. Now, scientism is the belief that the only acceptable form of knowledge is that which comes through the scientific method. Now, I'm a scientist. Probably many of you in this room are scientists. Scientism isn't science. Scientism is about excluding anything from discourse that is not scientific. Now, much about dreams is very scientific, but the aspect of interpretation and meaning is not scientific, so that cultural belief sort of excludes dreams from the academic discourse. Dreams are also ignored because our culture tends to be directed outwardly rather than inwardly. So we like to focus, as some of the speakers have mentioned earlier, we like to focus on things like money and status and power, and thinking about dreams doesn't get you any of those things. Dreams lead us inward, and an inward journey is an important one. It can help us find peace and satisfaction and recapture the wonder in our lives. But also, we do fear the inward journey as well. When my father shared his dream with me, he was 101, and I was grateful just to be able to have that conversation with him. So he's entitled not to start an inward journey at this point in his life. But because the inward journey is sometimes scary and we discover things about ourselves that we don't necessarily want to know. Now, our culture is unusual in neglecting dreams. There's 27 dreams described in the Bible. In the temple in Jesus' time, there were said to be 50 freelance dream interpreters in the temple area. In Islamic culture, the practice of ishtikhara, or seeking divine wisdom for life decisions, can utilize either prayer or dream incubation. And in Tibetan culture, dreaming is an important part of spiritual practice, especially lucid dreaming, which we will discuss later. In Chinese culture, the dream interpretation book ascribed to the Duke of Zhao has been popular for about 3,000 years. So we are the outliers. We sometimes wonder why are other cultures so strange that they're thinking about their dreams and value them, or really it's the opposite question, is what's happened to us that we ignore dreams now. So let's revisit my dad's dream and explore why dreams are important. One reason they're important is they can show us what's inside ourselves. Now, when my dad first told me his dream, my thought, which I did not share, was, dude, that's been your life. I remember my mother. I remember how critical she was. I remember how much of his life my dad spent trying to please her. And the dream was actually a beautiful, symbolic depiction of that. And also at 101, the idea of mowing captures something of harvest and end-of-life issues that are also captured in that dream image. Now, my dad chose not to look at that dream and decide it was nonsense, which he's entitled to. A different way of handling his dream is by Bill Dement. Now, Bill Dement was one of the pioneers of dream research. He discovered REM sleep. He was also a chain smoker. And one night he dreamt that he developed a cough and he got a chest x-ray, and he was looking at his chest x-ray in one of those old-time hospital light boxes, and he saw the multiple white spots that showed metastatic lung cancer. In the dream, he was full of despair that he had wasted his life. He woke up and never smoked another cigarette. Now, Dement was a physician. He knew that cigarette smoking caused cancer, but the dream helped him connect that conscious knowledge with his feelings and behavior in a different kind of way. Another reason dreams are important is they can guide us towards creativity and sometimes offer us creative ideas. So what do these three people have in common? Paul McCartney, Mary Shelley, and Stephanie Meyer. You guessed it, they all got important dream ideas. Paul McCartney's song Yesterday, one of the most popular Beatles songs, came to him in a dream. Mary Shelley had a long nightmare out of which developed her great novel, Frankenstein, which has become a million movies. And Stephanie Meyer one night dreamt of a sunlit field with a sparkly boy in the field who was a vampire. And the vampire was talking to a girl and saying, I love you, but I want to kill you. And that dream became the heart of the Twilight books and novels. Lucid dreams are a special kind of issue. To have a lucid dream is to be aware that you are dreaming while you are dreaming, and sometimes even to have control of the dream. Some people consider it a special state of consciousness, and it can be studied physiologically. Harriet Tubman led about 300 enslaved persons to freedom. Someone asked her once, how do you lead people through unfamiliar terrain in the dark? And she explained that she dreamt every night, and in her dreams she would fly over the landscape and see what routes looked safe, and that's how she chose safe pathways through those lucid dreams. Now, the dreams I've described are fairly transparent ones. When we think about our own dreams, they're not usually like that. They're often kind of mysterious and strange, partially because dreams speak to us in symbols, in images. That's like the language of the unconscious rather than words. And those images can be beautiful, and images automatically say more than the words can. Like my dad's dream was such a beautiful depiction of his life story. And dreams also can be confusing because they don't tell you something you already know. I don't think my dad had really thought of that aspect of his life. So it was kind of giving him new information. This symbol is the Ouroboros, an ancient symbol of regeneration and eternal life. The German chemist Kekulé struggled for many years to figure out how organic molecules were constructed. He knew the formulas, that is the ratio of carbon and oxygen and hydrogen molecules, but he couldn't figure out how those were set up. So then one night he dreamt of an Ouroboros, and he realized right away that's how the organic molecules are set up. The carbon molecules are in a ring, just as the Ouroboros is in a ring. But his dream didn't just answer his chemistry problem. It was as if his mind was telling him, yes, that's how the carbon molecules are arranged, but remember the deeper message of what you're doing, that those organic molecules are all about eternity and regeneration, and that's the deeper message of what you're doing. So how do we work with dreams? It's important to try to record them right away because they're very easily forgotten. I always think about exploring dreams rather than interpreting dreams. To interpret a dream suggests that there's one single right answer that you have to find, where I would treat a dream more like an artwork, where one appreciates it and one studies it and appreciates its beauty and the multiple levels of meaning it contains. It's said that of those dream interpreters in the temple in Jesus' time, that if you brought a dream to all 50 of them, you would get 50 different interpretations, but that they would all be correct. Dreams are kind of a gateway to an inner world. Now, psychiatry and other branches of medicine have become more interested in that inner world, especially using psychedelic drugs. Psychedelic drugs have become popular in psychiatry as a subject of research for a variety of illnesses. But we forget that we trip every night. It's free, it's not against the law. And this final image is a painting by William Blake, and it's of the Old Testament prophet Jacob's dream of a ladder. He dreamt of a ladder going from heaven to earth with angels ascending and descending. Dreams are like that, maybe not a ladder to heaven, but a ladder to an inner world. And in that inner world, we have a friend inside that's willing to guide us and help us if we only listen. Thank you.